On August 15, 2025, Anchorage, Alaska stands at the center of global attention as former US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin convene for a high-stakes summit aimed at addressing the ongoing war in Ukraine. This meeting, anticipated for weeks and shrouded in both hope and controversy, represents one of the most significant diplomatic junctures since the conflict erupted. At stake is not only the prospect of a ceasefire, but also the future of Ukrainian sovereignty, the stability of European borders, and the credibility of international law. Trump, in recent statements, has suggested that a peace deal may be close, alluding to the possibility of territorial exchanges as part of a broader settlement. For Putin, the stakes are clear. Russia maintains its claims over the 4 Ukrainian regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson, showing little willingness to make meaningful concessions. The Russian media, meanwhile, have framed the invitation to Alaska as a diplomatic triumph, a symbolic recognition of Moscow's enduring influence. Yet beneath the headlines, tensions simmer. The Ukrainian government, led by President Volodymyr Zelensky, has categorically rejected any deal that involves ceding territory, insisting that Ukraine must be present at the negotiating table. Zelensky's demand to participate is echoed by the United States, which has signaled openness to a trilateral format, though the current summit remains bilaterally structured at Russia's request. In parallel, European leaders have drawn a clear line in the sand. A joint declaration from France, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, Poland, Finland, and the European Commission's president has reiterated unwavering support for Ukraine, emphasizing that peace cannot be brokered without Kiev's direct involvement and that borders must not be changed by force. The European Union has called an extraordinary meeting of foreign ministers to coordinate a unified response and underscore the importance of fair, inclusive negotiations. NATO, too, has reinforced its position, stating unequivocally that any agreement must respect Ukrainian sovereignty. The message from Brussels, Berlin, Paris, and London is one of caution. Territorial concessions could embolden further aggression and undermine the foundations of international stability. As the leaders gather in Anchorage, several key issues are expected to dominate discussions. The most immediate is the possibility of a ceasefire, anchored by the definition of a line of contact and mechanisms for international monitoring. Alongside this, negotiators may explore agreements on prisoner exchanges and the establishment of humanitarian corridors, both crucial for alleviating civilian suffering. The thorny question of sanctions looms large, as Moscow seeks relief from Western economic pressure, while Washington and its allies insist on meaningful guarantees of security and compliance. Whether these talks yield a concrete announcement, a stop to hostilities, a framework for monitoring, or a pathway to future negotiations remains uncertain. Observers caution that outcomes could range from a vague declaration of intent to a dramatic breakdown, entrenching opposing positions and prolonging the crisis. The role of Zelensky remains a flashpoint. Any formal invitation to the Ukrainian president could reshape the dynamics of the summit, signaling a shift toward more inclusive diplomacy. The language of the final communiqué will be scrutinized for signs of progress or retreat. References to ceasefire, international monitoring, and territorial integrity will be interpreted as indicators of the summit's direction. In the hours and days ahead, the world will be watching for concrete steps and genuine commitments, mindful that the fate of Ukraine and the principles underpinning the international order hang in the balance. In essence, the Trump-Putin summit in Alaska is far more than a bilateral encounter. It is a litmus test for the future of peace in Europe, the resilience of Ukrainian sovereignty, and the integrity of diplomatic engagement in a time of war. The coming hours will reveal whether compromise and courage can overcome suspicion and division, and whether the voices of those most affected, the Ukrainian people, will be truly heard.